Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really interesting set of sources in front of us today.
Yeah, they all seem to circle around this core idea, don't they? Taking real charge of your life.
Exactly. And it's presented as like practical wisdom, stuff you might get from a coach or a mentor, maybe even some psychology, but really boiled down.
Super actionable. That's what strikes me. These sources, they just cut right through the noise. No complex jargon, just fundamentals you can actually use, like today.
Right. And that's our goal here with this deep dive. We want to unpack these core lessons, pull out the really important bits, and help you see how these, simple ideas can be genuinely powerful when you live them.
Yeah, it's about bridging that gap between knowing and doing.
So we'll kind of build it up. The sources suggest a structure, starting with what they call the absolute foundation, taking responsibility fully.
Then we'll look at goals, the power of knowing where you're actually heading.
And finally, the ingredient that makes it all stick.
Yeah.
Discipline. That essential habit.
Sounds like a plan. Where do we start? With the wake-up call.
Let's do it. The wake-up call. This first big idea, owning your life, 100%.
Yeah, the metaphor they use is pretty vivid. Your life's a car. Are you actually driving it? Hands on the wheel.
Or are you, just sitting in the passenger seat?
Yeah.
Watching things go by, maybe complaining a bit about the traffic or the driver.
Exactly. And we all know that passenger seat language, right? It's the, oh, my boss is just unfair, or, well, the economy's terrible, or...
If only I'd been born rich, or I just didn't get the same chances, that kind of thing.
Right. And what's the common thread? It puts the problem out there, somewhere else. It's their fault. It's the situation's fault.
Which, as the sources point out pretty bluntly, makes you a victim. It just drains your power. You feel helpless because the control is supposedly somewhere else.
Taking responsibility is like grabbing the steering wheel back.
But it's not about blame, right? That's a key distinction Brian Tracy makes in one source. He says, take 100% responsibility for everything you experience.
But, and this is crucial, that doesn't mean everything bad is your fault. You didn't cause the storm.
Right, but your response to the storm, that's 100% on you.
That distinction changes everything. You didn't cause the flat tire, maybe you hit a nail, but you are responsible for getting it fixed or calling for help.
You can't control if someone treats you unfairly, but you absolutely control how you react, what you decide to do next, what you learn from it.
There's this story in the sources about a guy, Daniel. He really wanted to be a web developer. That was his dream.
But he felt stuck. All the usual reasons. I can't afford the courses. I just don't have the time. Total passenger seat mentality, waiting for things to be perfect.
Yeah, valid challenges, sure. Courses cost money, time is limited. But the shift came when he was kind of pushed with this idea. Okay, stop waiting. What can you do right now with what you have?
And it wasn't some huge dramatic change. It was just deciding to act. He started really small.
Free tutorials online, maybe just 30 minutes a night after work. No big investment, no massive time block, just consistent small action.
And the result? A year later, he actually landed his first job in tech.
And the sources really hammer this point home. Nothing around Daniel magically changed. The courses didn't suddenly become free. He didn't find extra hours in the day.
He changed. His response changed. He took ownership of his learning, his actions.
So, okay, how do you start making that shift yourself? The sources offer some, concrete first steps. Step one is just pause.
Yeah.
Reflect.
Get really honest. Ask yourself, okay, where am I blaming? Where am I making excuses right now?
It takes a bit of self-awareness, doesn't it, to catch yourself doing it?
Definitely. Then, step two, actively flip the script. Consciously change that I can't because.
Into, okay, how can I, even though, or how can I despite?
Yeah, it shifts your brain from focusing on the wall to looking for the door.
Step three, make it real. Write it down. List things you can control today, even tiny things.
Yeah, like I can control making that phone call, or I can control spending 15 minutes researching. It makes it feel less overwhelming.
Breaks it down. And the final, maybe most crucial step, act immediately.
Don't just plan to act. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take one small action today.
That first action is like turning on your internal compass. The sources use that metaphor. Excuses are a broken compass. You just go in circles.
But taking responsibility, that fixes the compass. It gives you direction, points you forward.
Love that. And Tony Robbins has this quote that fits perfectly. The quality of your life is the quality of your decisions.
And deciding to stop the blame game, deciding to act, that's a quality decision right there. It changes your trajectory instantly.
It really does. So wrapping up this first part, taking responsibility isn't just a one-time thing, it's a mindset shift. It's deciding I'm in charge of my response.
And when you truly embrace that, your actions, your words, even your thoughts start to line up. And that's where the real change begins.
It's the bedrock. You have to be in the driver's seat first.
Okay, so you've grabbed the wheel now. Where are you going? Which leads us perfectly into the second lesson.
Yes, part 2, the power of clear goals, finding your inner lighthouse.
So, lesson 2, put simply, clear goals create clear lives. The analogy they use is trying to play darts blindfolded.
Yeah, you might throw a lot of darts, maybe with a lot of energy.
But you're probably not hitting the board, let alone the bullseye. It's just
Chaotic.
random.
And that's life without goals, isn't it? You can be really busy, doing lots of stuff, but not actually getting anywhere meaningful.
Brian Tracy again with that quote. If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time.
Oof. Yeah, hits home, doesn't it?
It really does. Activity doesn't equal achievement. If you don't know your destination, any road will do, but it might lead nowhere you want to be.
But a clear goal. That's like a lighthouse. It cuts through the fog, gives you a fixed point to navigate towards.
There's another story here about Sarah, single mom, 2 jobs, feeling completely burnt out like she was just on a treadmill.
Just surviving, right? Going through the motions.
Until someone prompted her to define what she really truly wanted. And after thinking about it, she landed on, I want to open a small cafe someday.
Okay, so that became her lighthouse. It didn't magically make the 2 jobs disappear, but it gave her purpose, direction.
Exactly, and she started breaking it down, small steps, researching local places, saving just like $10 a week, looking into an online business course.
Tiny, manageable actions, all pointed towards that one clear vision.
And the result. 2 years later, she actually opened Sarah's Brew Dreams Served Daily.
Love the name. But the point is, it all started with defining that one clear goal, that lighthouse.
So how do we set goals that actually work? Not just fuzzy wishes. The sources bring up the SMART method. It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, it provides structure. So S specific, what does that really mean?
It means getting precise, not just, I want to be healthier, but what exactly? The source example. I want to write a children's book about kindness. Very specific.
Okay. Then M, measurable. How do you track it?
For the book, write 1 page a day. You can measure that. Did you do it or not? Simple.
A is achievable. Is it actually realistic for you?
Right. Maybe writing a whole novel in a month isn't, but finish the draft in 3 months. That feels challenging, but doable for the example.
Relevant. Does this goal actually matter to you? Does it align with your bigger picture?
For the kindness book author, yes, I want to inspire kids. It connects to a deeper value. It's relevant.
And finally, T time bound. Give it a deadline.
Complete the first draft by July 1st. It creates focus, a sense of urgency.
So setting the SMART goal is huge, but then the source is stress, breaking those bigger goals down
into small wins. This seems crucial for keeping momentum, because looking at lose 10 kilos or save 10,000 euro payload, that could feel huge, daunting.
Totally overwhelming. So you shift the focus, not lose 10 kilos, but eat 1 healthy meal today.
Not save 10,000, but put aside 5 this week.
Or read 24 books this year. Becomes read half a book this week, which is maybe just a few pages each day. Tiny wins.
And celebrating those tiny wins builds momentum, right? It's not about the giant leap. It's about those consistent steps.
Brings us back to that lighthouse metaphor again. The big goal is the light, steady in the distance. It's not demanding you teleport there.
It just guides your small daily adjustments, every little paddle stroke towards it.
Okay, but if goals are so great, why don't more people actually set them? The sources address this too.
Yeah, common reasons pop up. Fear of failing, maybe deep down not believing they can actually achieve it.
Or just wanting to avoid the potential disappointment if they don't make it.
Understandable stuff, but the counterpoint is powerful. Not setting goals almost guarantees disappointment, doesn't it? You just drift.
You hit nothing, like Tracy said. Losers make excuses, winners make progress. Progress implies a direction, an aim.
So the sources offer a little exercise. Take 10 minutes, no distractions.
And just ask, what's one goal that, if I achieved it, would really change things for me? Write it down.
Then dig a bit. Why do I want this? What's the absolute first, smallest step I can take tomorrow?
And maybe, who could help me? Keep me accountable.
They call this finding the first spark, just lighting that initial fire by defining your direction.
And there's that Denzel Washington quote, too. Dreams without goals are just dreams.
And they ultimately fuel disappointment. Ouch. But true.
Goals give those dreams legs, a plan, a structure, turns a wish into a project.
So the big idea for goals, it's about direction. not rigid control. It's deciding to guide your life.
Mm.
And even one small goal can change how you feel, how you act.
Okay, so we have responsibility, we're driving, we have goals, we know where we're going, now we need the engine.
Right, which takes us to part 3. Self-discipline, the habit that builds everything.
Lesson 3. And they define it simply as discipline is doing it anyway.
Doing it even when you really, really don't want to. When every part of you is saying, nah, later, or not today.
That resistance is real. And self-discipline, according to Brian Tracy again, is the ability to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not.
The key part being whether you feel like it or not. It disconnects action from fleeting feelings or motivation.
Exactly. Motivation is great, but it comes and goes. Discipline. That's described as a muscle.
Something you build. It gets stronger with consistent training, just like lifting weights.
Yeah. There's this nice little story, The Bricklayer's Secret, about a guy named Leo.
Just out there every day, laying bricks, one by one. Tedious work, you'd think.
Someone asked him, doesn't it get boring just laying bricks?
And Leo apparently smiled and said, I don't lay bricks, I build cathedrals.
I love that. It's perfect. People see the finished cathedral, the success, the achievement.
But they overlook the thousands of individual, maybe boring bricks that had to be laid day in, day out. Discipline is that bricklaying.
So how do you build that muscle? Practical steps again. First, start small, stay consistent. Don't try to overhaul your entire life at once.
Pick one tiny thing. The examples are great. Make your bed every morning, walk for 10 minutes, turn off your phone an hour before bed.
Super small. But doing it consistently builds confidence. It proves to yourself, hey, I can stick to something.
Okay, second step. Use triggers. Connect the new habit to an existing one.
Like, after I brush my teeth, I'll already do that. I'll meditate for 2 minutes, new habit. Or, after my morning coffee, I'll write down my top 3 tasks.
Makes it more automatic somehow, less effortful.
Third, track it. See your progress visually. A calendar with X's, a habit tracker app, whatever works.
Seeing that chain grow, you don't want to break it. It becomes its own motivation.
Definitely. And fourth, reward progress. After, say, a week of sticking to your new small discipline, give yourself a small, healthy reward.
Positive reinforcement tells your brain, this is good, let's keep doing this.
Thinking about that discipline muscle again. The first few reps are always the hardest, right? Waking up early when you're tired, choosing the salad over the burger.
It feels uncomfortable, like forcing yourself.
But you keep doing it, and slowly it gets easier. It becomes less of a fight, more of a routine, eventually just part of who you are.
But the sources are honest. They mention it's boring before. It's beautiful.
Yeah, discipline isn't always exciting. It's often repetitive, predictable, maybe even dull compared to bursts of motivation.
But the real change, the magic, happens in that steady repetition.
Like water curving stone. It's not one big splash, it's the constant, consistent dripping over time.
And what does this steady, sometimes boring work actually build?
Well, the sources say it builds the book. It builds the business, it builds the healthier body, it builds peace of mind too, knowing you're acting in line with what you value.
There's a great coach's tip in here too. Expect resistance. It's normal. Some days you just won't want to.
Totally normal. Don't beat yourself up. The key on those days isn't perfection, it's just show up.
Do the minimum. 5 minutes counts. 1 paragraph counts. 2 push-ups count.
Like Tony Robbins says, it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives. It's what we do consistently. Even the small consistencies.
Just keep the chain going, even with a tiny link. Oh, and there's a bonus point. Keep learning. Discipline applies to your mind too.
Yeah, Tracy's advice. Make learning a discipline. Read regularly. Listen to informative podcasts. Take courses. Ask better questions. Surround yourself with people who make you think.
Mental reps are just as important.
And maybe the deepest point about discipline here, it's not really about being tough on yourself, it's about building self-trust.
Becoming someone you can rely on.
Exactly. When you consistently do what you say you'll do, especially when it's hard, you build this deep inner confidence. It's not based on applause, it's based on your own integrity.
Wow. Okay, so let's try and pull these 3 big threads together from our deep dive.
All right. Thread 1. Take full responsibility. Be the author, not just a character reacting to the plot. Choose your response.
Thread 2. Set clear goals. Know your destination. Have that lighthouse guiding your actions, making sure your effort counts.
And thread 3. Build self-discipline. That's the engine, the consistent bricklaying, doing it anyway, whether you feel like it or not, because that's how you actually build the life you want.
So responsibility is deciding to drive, goals are the map, discipline is the fuel. or the driving itself.
Something like that. It all works together.
Okay, so as we finish up, maybe a final thought for you, the listener,
Yeah.
to chew on.
Yeah, if discipline is really the bridge between your goals and actually achieving them, and taking responsibility is the decision to even step onto that bridge.
Then the question is, what one small act of discipline can you commit to today, right now? That starts laying the first brick of that bridge towards your most important goal.
Just one small thing. What could it be?
That's definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for bringing these sources to the table for this deep dive. Really powerful stuff.
My pleasure. Lots to unpack, but fundamentally simple ideas just need application.